and welcome back to another episode of Financial Fix with Sharnella. Today we're going to talk about budgeting. We're going to talk about a simple budget. And this is for people who aren't necessarily in a whole lot of debt. Maybe you have about $5,000 or less of credit card debt, and you're just getting started and you just need a little guidance. You just need a little guidance on how to budget or how to start a budget. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Again, this is for beginners. Now, if you are someone who is in a lot of debt right now, whether it be credit card debt or student loan debt, this is a great video to watch, but you'll want to stick around and watch my next video, because my next video is going to dive deeper into how to budget and how to pay off debt for those of you who are deep in debt. So again, this video is for beginners, but continue to watch because I'm pretty sure you'll learn some pretty valuable information in here. So the first thing I want to talk about is, why do we want to budget? What is the purpose of a budget? The purpose of a budget is to make sure that you have checks and balances between what amount of money is coming in versus how much money is going out. So we're providing structure to your finances so that you'll always remain in control and you'll likely not get into debt. That's the whole thing that I would like to help people do, is avoid debt, because it's so much easier to avoid it than it is to get in it and then out. Let me back up a little bit. It is actually very easy to get into debt. It can be very difficult to get out. There's a lot of sacrifices to be made to get out of debt. So here we are for the newbie. Why do we want to budget? Because again, we want structure for our finances. Number two, the reason that we budget is because then we understand whether or not we're living at our means, below our means, or above our means. And based on our budgets, we can determine whether or not we're living the life that we really want to live with the income that we have, or do we need to put ourselves in a position where we can make more money to do the other things that we want to do, because the money that we're bringing in really isn't enough to do everything that we want to do and without getting into debt. Okay, so here we go. Now that you understand the purpose of a budget, let's move on to step number one. Step number one in creating a budget is, for me, I am an old schooler. I do everything by writing it down on paper. When I started budgeting over 25 years ago, oh God, was it really that long? Yes, I guess it was. It was over 25 years ago. I wrote everything on paper. Now, there's some of you that, you're a little bit more comfortable with using an Excel spreadsheet, or there's any number of budgeting apps out there that might help you. But for this video, let's pretend we're putting everything in either Excel or on a piece of paper. So at the top of your budget plan, you're gonna just write monthly budget. Underneath your monthly budget, I want you to indicate how much money you bring home every month. And I'm talking about dependable cash, dependable income that comes in on a regular basis, either from your job, your business, child support, whatever it is. It has to be income that you can rely on month after month. So whatever that number is, write that number in. For the purpose of this video, let's go with, say, $5,000. So after you write down monthly budget as your title, you're going to then write down the amount of money that you bring in every month, in this case, $5,000. Let's determine now how much you'd like to save from that $5,000 each month. For now, I recommend, if you're just getting started, start off with a very modest savings goal. So let's start off with about $500. That should be fairly easy to accomplish. So here we go. Step number two. You are then going to list all of your essential expenses. Now, what do I mean by essential? Because sometimes people get mixed up when I say essential versus non-essential. Essential meaning all the expenses related to food. That doesn't mean fast food. I'm talking about grocery food. Shelter, that's your home, your rent, your mortgage. Communication, that's your cell phone. Transportation, that's your vehicle. So yes, you're going to include your cell phone bill. You're going to include an internet bill. You're going to include your fuel for your vehicle. Any of those items where you absolutely cannot live without. those are the items that you're going to list in your column A, essential expenses. So step number 3 is your non-essential items. But wait a minute. We said we wanted to save, right? So let's back up. Before you list your non-essential items, let's first tally up in column A all of the costs related to your essential items. Now let's say, for instance, okay, you bring in $5,000 a month. After you add up all of your essential costs, the things that you can't live without or should not be living without, say that is $3,500 per month off the top that's coming out of your income. So now you have $1,500 to play with. You've got $1,500 in which to save and to cover non-essential expenses. So at this point, you subtract the $5,000 from the $3,500, you've got $1,500 left over. Now your savings goal is a mere $500. You can definitely do that very comfortably. So now you subtract $500 from the $1,500. Now you have $1,000 left over for your non-essential expenses. And that's quite a bit of money. And for most of you just starting out, you probably won't have a budget that high to spend on your non-essential items. So what I want you to do now, next, is you're going to go to column B. Column B, you're going to list all of your non-essential items. These are the things that you want. You want to get your nails done. You want to get your hair done. You want to buy makeup. You want to go to the movies. You want to go to a play. These are all of your non-essential items. Also, gym memberships, things of that nature, any other subscriptions. And I want to back up a little bit. Television is, in my opinion, a non-essential expense. So if you're streaming shows, you've got certain networks that you're paying for streaming, that is a non-essential. That should go into that category. So once you add up all of your non-essential expenses, hopefully they're far less than $1,000. But if they're more than what's left over from your budget after you pay for essential needs and your savings, then you need to pick and choose which non-essential items you're willing to keep, those that are most dear to you, and the ones that you can give away or discontinue. That is the healthiest way to start budgeting. Now, majority of the population, they do things all wrong when it comes to their budget. When they get paid, they end up, a lot of times, spending money before they even get paid. They use credit cards irresponsibly, and they go out and just buy whatever they want, whenever they want, because someone has given them the credit to do it, and sometimes to the tune of thousands of dollars. So that's very dangerous. It's very important that you remember when budgeting, number one, the most important thing is to pay your essential bills first. You need to have a place to live. You need food. You need communication. You need transportation. Those things are first and foremost. The next thing that you need to concentrate on is saving, because saving is going to put you in a position where you're going to build up a nice nest egg in case for whatever reason something goes awry. Maybe you find yourself out of work for a few months. And so now you need to have some savings to kind of make up for the loss of income. The other thing is, it's great to have savings because the more you build your savings, the more opportunity you have to make an investment, a future investment with those savings. When you have money, the more money you have, the more opportunities you have to make more money. And I know some of you have heard the term, or actually the phrase, it takes money to make money. Well, that's the truth. It does. And sometimes it isn't always your money when it comes to an investment, depending on the investment, but oftentimes you do have to have some of your own money to make investments to plan for your future. So the important thing to know, especially for those young people just starting out, you're in your 20s, you're in your 30s, and you think, oh, I've got all the time in the world to save for investment. I'm sorry, you've got all the time in the world to save for retirement. So you think, until the years tick away, the decades pass rapidly. And then before you know it, you're in your 40s and 50s and you don't have an adequate retirement plan. So what I want you to do is eventually, in time, as you reach your first savings goal, I want you to, over time, maybe add a little bit of pressure to yourself. Say you start off with a savings goal of $500 a month. You do that for about 2 or 3 months very easily. Then I want you to move up and say, you know what? I can save $600 or $650 or $700. I want you to get to the point where you're pushing the limits of how much you can save and you're wasting less money. So I enjoyed having you listen to me today. Thank you for watching. And if you have any further questions that maybe I haven't answered for you, I want you to send me an email, Sharnella@SharnellaClark.com. Send me an email and ask me a question directly related to maybe some information that I haven't given to you, or maybe you want me to elaborate on a certain topic. I'm willing to do that because I want to help you out. So thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe to Financial Fix with Sharnella. See you on the next episode. And remember, the next episode is for those of you who are deep in debt.